Welcome back to Sailing Trilleen and my solo trip round the west of Ireland and the UK, supporting the Andrew Cassell Foundation, who help disabled sailors get independent on the water. In this video I take you from Kinsale to Bantry Bay and then on to Galway Bay. Lots of fun sailing, some dolphins and general chaos ensues along the way. But first, I thought I'd take you on a little wheelchair tour of Kinsale's biggest fort, the Charles Fort, and the intrepid tricks that tri-ride users can use to get up very steep hills. Yep, we do it in reverse.
I'm at Charles Fort, built to defend the entrance of Kinsale by the British when Ireland was a colonial outpost. I actually really like the fact that the fort is demilitarised. There aren't faux cannons sitting in the embrasures going through the wall. There are a couple of cannon barrels by the entrance lying off their carriages, and I think it's a really nice thing to come across a fort where the preservers, the conservators, haven't wanted to leave guns in the positions. It's a peaceful place now, whereas before I think this would have been a very alert fortress on the front line of defending against anyone coming into this harbour who shouldn't have been. Behind me is the lighthouse, what I'm told the locals refer to sometimes as the little light. It's a sectored light which guides you into the harbour once you've got past the old head of Kinsale, which has got a massive lighthouse on it. These sectored lights are so valuable when you're coming in at night. Generally the good sector is white, and then there's a red and a green sector on either side of that, which are not good at all generally to be in. And so you ride the beam down into the harbour. I've just seen an accessible entrance to the historic building where the exhibition centre is, which is so good that I want to cry. The main access to the side is across rock slab on end, so it's not quite cobble, it's worse than cobble for the wheelchair, and they have built a beautiful wheelchair path that curves gently across it to a ramp and a sympathetic long shallow ramp up by a wall that goes into the building. It's just fantastic, and it's done so sensitively that you wouldn't really see it as an imposition. I wanted to tell you that we're around the old head of Kinsale, where the ocean liners and merchant ships of the past used to make landfall coming in from the Atlantic, and we're heading down now on a course pretty much straight towards the Fastnet rock, which is about 38 miles away. The coast here is about 5 miles north of us, 3 to 5 miles north of us. There's cliffs, it's relatively clean, so there aren't too many offlying dangers, which is great. And Trilleen's performing really well under one reef in the main and full head sails, and she's chomping through a sea which is probably between 1 and 2 metres. So, as I said, we're around the old head of Kinsale, and I'm sitting at the nav table and I'm just about to pop fix on and see what would be a good direct course to the Fastnet. I think actually that we're going a little bit high, by which I mean the boat's a bit close to the wind, so she's closing the coast more than she needs to do, and it might be possible for us to bear away or bring the bow of the boat slightly away from the wind, which will make the boat faster and a bit more comfortable in the sea. She's actually handling it very well, but the one thing I don't want to do is end up massively downwind of the Fastnet rock, because ultimately I need to go right once I'm past there. Once I'm past mizzen head, I need to go right, and that is upwind, so I want to keep as far to windward as possible without getting close to the rocks. That is the current plan.
I was just approaching the Fastnet when, in a flash of cell signal, the news of the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II was announced. I found it, like many people in the United Kingdom and around the world, strangely affecting, as I arranged for mourning bands on the ensign and for it to be half-masted. Dawn found me entering Bantry Bay and finding initially an anchorage to sort the boat out before heading to a marina. Morning from Sailing Trilleen. I'm at Lawrence Cove Marina, which is a beautiful small marina on an island facing the town of Castletownbere, which is itself a major port but primarily a fishing port. And although it's very welcoming to yachts, it's, as one of the esteemed members at Kinsale Yacht Club described it, fishy fishy. The plan now is to slip pretty much as soon as we're able to and then proceed north. There's a southeasterly flow of wind forecast to come in over the Irish landscape and out into the Atlantic for some distance, and so the hope is that I can ride this with Trilleen as far north as I can. So we're just clearing round the end of the bull right now. The calf is out of my window at about 300 metres. I wouldn't be this close were it not perfectly calm. And Trilleen is broad reaching under her wind vane. The slight issue I've got is that I'm about to turn onto a run, and running wind vanes, not done very much of it, in fact, but done very little of it. So this is going to be an exciting experiment because we've got 60 miles essentially of running to get clear of the corner of Ireland. Those 60 miles took me past Skellig Michael, or Skellig Moor, a UNESCO World Heritage Site famed for its monastery, megalithic remains and wildlife colonies, but now better known for its role in Star Wars films. The twin splinters of Skellig Moor and the Little Skellig rear up out of the ocean west of County Kerry. Landing is pretty tricky at the best of times, and there's no anchorage to speak of, so it wasn't somewhere I was going to stop, but it is a spectacular sight. There is very little at sea as remarkable as a hot cup of tea, and I've made sure that Trilleen is well provided for in this area. The rest of the passage to the Aran Islands became significantly less pleasant and mostly very dark. The compensation was a couple of visits from the dolphins, who, it seems, find this rolly little tub intriguing, if rather slow for their sleek, speedy bodies. I found harbour initially in a little cove where I anchored overnight before moving to Rossaveel for some maintenance and to wait for a new weather window. On arrival there, I found a delightful marina with a disability crew lift and really excellent general disability access. Usually the first thing that happens when I arrive somewhere new is to dismount my wheelchair and to head into town. In Rossaveel, there is no town, but the harbour office is sufficiently far away that dismounting the wheelchair was still necessary. The port does, however, have a lovely local shop, pub and excellent buses to Galway.